Clap your hands if you are crazy, must say clap your hands.
Domino Thinking presents Natural Born Speakers with your host, Allison Donaghy. If you were born to talk and want to know how to build your career around it, then Natural Born Speakers is the show for you. Now grab your seat because this is the place to be. Now here is your host, Allison.
Hello, and thanks for tuning in. You are going to love my guest today. She is amazing. First, I want to do a big shout out to Your Ultimate Speech. If you are an executive or somebody looking to create a speech and you need help to get up on stage and really promote your stuff great, go to yourultimatespeech.com. Mark will get you hooked up. I've been working with him. He's absolutely amazing, and we're going to be doing a documentary on him next month, so you're going to want to tune in for that too. But enough about that. Let's talk about my guest, because she just rocks the shit out of the stuff that she touches. Her name is Anel Bester. And some of you may know her. She is the woman that says, "Give fear the finger." I don't know if you've seen her online, but she is a pretty cool woman. She's an achievement coach. She's a wife, a mother of two, Ironman and Sky Run athlete with brass ovaries. And you know I gotta love a girl with brass ovaries. She has an honors in psychology, and she overcame clinical depression through kickboxing, and she's been coaching for a decade, helping women face their fears by tapping into their purpose, increasing their confidence, and allowing them to thrive in their businesses. She teaches an indestructible mindset that has you achieve the really big goals that others consider impossible. And let me tell you, she will help you realize goals bigger than you imagined. Welcome, Anel.
Well, thanks, Alison. And I like balls as well, so thanks for that.
I'm just going to give you everything. Yes, like that, because you deserve it all, my dear.
Oh,
what was that?
It's so awesome to be here. Thank you so much for having me on the show. You know, I've loved your work for a long time, and I've had the privilege to work with you as well. So I'm really, really honored to be here today.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for making the time, because you're in New Zealand, and that is you're in tomorrow already. And it's not always easy coordinating these times, so I really appreciate you making that effort and being here, and we get to hang out, which is super cool.
No, and I've got my coffee, so I'm ready to go.
Good job. Damn, it's a little too early for me to be busting out my tequila, so I'm just stuck with water here. But how about you tell our listeners, how did you get from wherever you were to where you are now? I think it's a really, really interesting journey, and I would love to hear it again. I never get tired of it.
Okay, God, how far back do you want me to go?
As far as you want, honey.
Okay, so it was like a really rainy night in 1972. No, I'm just joking. I think really where my story starts for me is when I lived in Ireland, and I had a 6-week-old baby and a 2.5-year-old, and I found myself slipping into some really severe depression. And at that stage, with an honors degree in psychology, you go through this whole mind fuck of, oh my God, I know what's happening and I should be able to help myself, and nothing is working, and so you just slide deeper and deeper. And after almost a year of that, we returned to South Africa, and things just got progressively worse for me. And eventually I woke up one morning, and it was a case of, today I either need to try and get help, or I'm not going to see sunsets. And that's the day that I finally went to a doctor, and I said to him, I can't do this anymore. There's no more light at the end of the tunnel for me. It's all just dark, and you need to help me. And he gave me happy pills, which was awesome.
Of course.
Yes.
Yes, that's the solution.
That's what they do. It's taking the happy pills, and I thought, okay, well, I don't want to slit my wrists anymore, but I never feel happy. You know, it's kind of like it just takes the edge off all your emotions, and so you end up being this little robot thing that goes through life.
Right.
And I did that for about 6 months and then decided, no, this is enough of this. So I'm going to take the next step and go and see a therapist, a psychologist, because that's my area of expertise and what I believe in. And I hated it. I hated every goddamn session. I would walk out of it and think, seriously? I feel 10 times worse than when I walked into the session, and I just got sick of having to rehash all the stuff that happened in my childhood, and I absolutely acknowledge that shit happens to us in life. But to focus on that on a continuous basis, and then she used to say to me, now just go home and be gentle with yourself. And I thought, I could punch you right now. Seriously? You come, you take off all my scabs, you make me relive all this crap, and then you tell me to go be gentle with myself? So I went through that hell for about 3 months, and then got into my car one day and I thought, okay, this isn't working for me. So the happy pills weren't working, and therapy obviously is not the answer either. And on my way home, I drove past a dojo and saw the kickboxing sign. And I thought, oh my God, that looks awesome. And so that's what I did. I signed up for kickboxing, and I literally boxed my way out of the depression. And that for me was the first block in healing. And so I started a brand new journey, because by now I was working at Lifeline and, as a counselor, and I thought, this isn't my journey. This whole therapeutic field is not what I'm meant to be doing. But
the irony of working in that industry while tapping into that industry is not really lost here.
No, absolutely. And the real interesting thing is I then decided to go all airy-fairy woo-woo. And started going into alternative healing and things, and I came across this wonderful course called Intuitive Healing. And I thought, that's it. That's what I want to do for people. And I signed up and I paid everything, and the day before the course, by which stage I was orgasmically excited because of this.
Because you were off the happy pills.
Absolutely. They phoned me and said, we're cancelling the course, but there's a coaching course starting tomorrow, and since you've already paid, do you want to do that? And I was like, well, what the fuck is coaching? And they said, why don't you just come to the first lesson and give it a try, and if you don't like it, we'll give you a full refund. And I thought, I've got nothing to lose. I'm also one of those people who tend to believe the universe brings what you need at the right time, and sometimes you just have to say yes and go with the flow.
Okay, saying you believe that is a bit of an understatement.
Yes. 20 seconds of insane courage, darling. That's my motto. So I went, and from the first hour, I fell in love with coaching. I mean, it was just everything that was my personality. It was goal-orientated. It was acknowledging the past, but looking at where you want to be. It was powerful. It was energetic. It was driven. It was kick-ass. It's like, take no prisoners. And that's 10 years ago, and I've been taking no prisoners since. And that's where I am today.
That is great. And thank God, because we got to work together, and you're terrific.
Oh, thank you. Well, I've got a terrific ass to kick with you, so... I think one of the beautiful...
Well, I'm glad you like my ass.
I do, but you know that. One of the beautiful things of coaching is I get to choose the clients that I work with. And I really thrive working with achievers, and here's the beautiful thing about it is I attract magnificent people in my life, like yourself, to coach, and it's a beautiful journey. And every time I do that, I get to unlock a little bit more potential in somebody, and the entire universe benefits by it.
Right. Yeah, well, and that totally makes sense. And I just want to do a big plug for you right now, because working with you was, it really opened my eyes to see how I was settling for things. Like, I thought I was going after things, but talking to you about it, you're being like, that gets you excited? No, do bigger than that. And then that gets you excited? No, do bigger than that. And then the potential of once I allowed myself to start dreaming about these different things, attaining them is far more realistic than before. Before I could even imagine them. Like before it was, I'm a 7 out of 10. That's pretty good. And now I'm like, fuck no, I want to be a 12 out of 10.
Exactly, because people settle, we just become so accustomed to, it's good enough. It's good enough for me. I'm like, screw that. Nothing except for excellence should be good enough for you. Right. Because we're living in such a time of mediocrity. I think it's insane how everybody is just, I just want to dabble a little bit in this and dabble a little bit in that. And if we're all like that, then everybody's happy, right? And so what's happening is that the few people who have the brass balls, ovaries, titties, whatever you want to have, to say, well, that's not good enough. I want to be magnificent in whatever it is that I do and whatever it is that I touch and whatever it is that I surround myself with. Those people really get slated. They really get attacked. And why? Because when we show up that way and we put up the mirror for people and they kind of go, oh God, really? Am I playing that small? They don't like that.
Right.
So you get one of two sorts of reactions. You either get the people who go, oh, fuck yes, I want that too. Or they kind of go, oh, no, you're making me feel bad, so I'm just going to get you out of my life as quickly as possible.
Right. Or try to change your mind.
Yeah, well, yes. Well, that's not gonna happen.
The people that I talk to about things, about, dreaming bigger and having that, why not do all of this stuff focus, and people would say to me, but you already do so much. Mm-hmm. And I thought, but there's so much more potential. There's so many more areas where I can be doing more, and I can be doing more with the stuff that I'm doing. But not everybody gets that. And not everybody wants that, which is great, because for those of us going after it, there's a space for us.
Well, and I truly believe there's space for all of us. I'm a big believer in life purpose. And I only wish that people would wake the fuck up to how big their purpose really, really is. And it doesn't matter what you are doing. When you start seeing the bigger picture of the impact that you potentially have in this world, when you start tapping into that, there's no ways that your ass will not be on fire when you wake up in the morning. Because when I wake up, I don't wake up for myself at 5 o'clock. I don't get out of bed at 5 o'clock for myself. I get out of bed because I know right now, today, there's somebody who needs to hear my message. And I get up for them. Because every single person that I inspire, that I ignite with a little bit of fire, every person that they talk to, interact with, have in their space, get energetically touched by them as well. And it's like this beautiful ripple effect that we have in the world. And when we tap into the fact that we were born to serve other people in whatever way that might be, and we understand that as long as we are not serving them, we are actually causing them pain, when we start tapping into that responsibility and that accountability, let me tell you, that's a scary place to be. And not a lot of people are prepared to go there. But when you do, man, you become unstoppable. You get out of your own way and you start showing up, and you start showing up in a really beautiful and powerful way. And that, I believe, is how each and every one of us were born to show up in this world.
Right. Well, although there's people that I meet that are really, really happy in their secluded homes with their little gardens. And that's what I was referring to before. Like, there are some people who just don't want that big life. And I think that that's great. And to acknowledge that, there are some people who are hiding, for sure. But there are people that I've met that are just so content. And when you look at their life, it doesn't seem like there's an awful lot there. But for them, it's everything. So I think there is definitely those three camps of people. Those people who want a smaller kind of life, people like you who have to make that big, huge impact and bring as many people along on that journey that want to go. And then there's the pack in the middle that are just too scared to do anything. And that's sad.
Yes, and I love what you said, is they are content, because that's a choice. You know, when you have awareness and make the choice, that's awesome. But a lot of people don't have the awareness. They just don't know what they don't know. Or they have the awareness and they're too scared to make the choice.
Right. It's like they're almost coasting through on those little happy pills you were talking about.
Right. And how many people are on happy pills these days?
Oh my God.
You know, whether that actually be antidepressants or alcohol or drugs or smoking or too much TV or too much eating or sugar, 99% of people are addicted to something, right? And they're trying to numb the pain, whatever that pain might be, through that addiction.
Yes. And I am actually proud to say right now, still no sugar.
Woohoo!
I know.
That's my girl. I'm so proud of you. And that was a big thing, right?
Well, you know, actually what was really interesting about the whole sugar thing, and I know I'm sidetracked here a bit, but for me, I only had to give up one thing, which was sugar. And as a result, well, now I don't have my caramel macchiatos at Starbucks, and I don't have the chocolate bars, and I don't have this, that, or the other thing. But those things are just a byproduct of making a decision about one thing.
Right. And it's not even giving it up. I mean, look what you've gained by making a different choice.
Right. And then I think, well, how many other things are like that in life where we just have to make one decision and then some of the other crap falls off?
Right.
Right. It doesn't have to be, because before I always thought about it, okay, well, if I'm going to lose weight or get healthy or eat better or whatever, now I have to give up lattes and I have to give up chocolate bars and I have this long list of 5,000 things that I have to give up. Right now, I only have one thing, which is sugar.
Yes.
Yeah. So it does make things quite focused.
And the interesting thing is that so many people tend to focus on what they have to give up. You know, it's like, sacrifice, heaven forbid. But it's not about focusing on what you have to give up. It's about making different choices to gain. And so when you start focusing on what you will gain through a healthier choice or a different choice, then it becomes really easy. It's kind of like this whole TV thing. I love it when people come to me and say, Anel, I just don't have time to train. And I said to them, okay, well, how much time do you watch TV? Oh, no, only about 2, maybe 3 hours a day. And I'm like, really? So there's already, 14 plus hours a week that you could be training. So what do you gain from sitting in front of the TV compared to what would you gain if you were moving your ass? It's a simple choice.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the other things that we talked about when we were working together was you had said to me, when I start following my purpose and the stuff that gets me all jazzed up, I will be showing my son that he should do the same. And so a couple months ago, he announced that he is going to try out for the NFL.
Awesome.
I know. And I'm just like, oh my God, it is so cool. He's doing the no sugar thing with me. And he's going to the NFL training or tryout camp or whatever they're called. I don't know anything about this stuff, but I'm so excited for him. So I'm talking about it anyway. But in March, he's going down south and he's going to try out and see if he can.
Oh, that's awesome.
NFLing.
And we both know he's going to get in because he's following in his mom's footsteps. And this actually brings me to a really big message that I have for women. You know, this whole thing of we have to sacrifice ourselves for our kids. And I can't live my dream, Anel, because I have kids. And I don't have time because I have kids. I fell into that as well. You know, I grew up an Afrikaans girl. We are socialized to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen and stay-at-home moms, and we voortrekker, here we go. And when I started training, I mean, first it was the kickboxing, and then I started cycling, and then I started competing, and then I wanted to do Ironman. My mom turned around to me one day and she said to me, "How can you be so selfish to not be spending the time with your kids?" And I said to her, "But Mom, I'm so much happier when I am with my kids. You know, when I go out training and do the stuff that I really love doing, I come home and I'm a better person for my kids rather than staying at home, which is what I did when they were little, and eventually resenting them. Like, oh my God, losing my whole life too.
Well, and what about perpetuating the stereotype? Right?
Exactly.
So then your son's going to grow up and think that their wives should stay at home and have no life to take care of their children. And if they have then sons, are those sons going to carry on and thinking that that's a woman's role in the world? And, you know, I think...
They have to. And that they have to give up their dreams because they now have kids.
Right.
Right? Because our children don't learn by what we tell them. They learn by observing us.
Yeah.
And so often I ask people, is this what you would want for your kids one day? And they go, oh, hell no. I tell my girl, she must do whatever she wants. And I'm like, well, she's not going to do that unless you show it to her.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think, and we forget about that. And, like, you know, and I thought I was doing okay showing my son stuff. And because I've accomplished quite a bit in my life. But when I really started going after this stuff, it totally kicked him up a notch too.
Exactly.
And I think that that's one of those great things about working with you, and anybody who is interested in working with you, I highly recommend it because it up levels everything. Fuck, I hate that word. I can't believe I just said it. Oh my God. It raises the bar with everything else that people around us that stick around us want to do as well.
And I think this is one of the core things that I want to try and get across today is you are one person. So many people tend to think that, well, I'm doing really well at work, but fuck, my marriage is falling apart. My health is shit. I don't like the way I look in the mirror. But you know what? I'm successful because I have a full bank account. And it doesn't
and
work
benefits.
that way.
Don't forget benefits.
And benefits. How you do one thing in life is really how you do everything in life. So if you think you can compartmentalize, I'm telling you right now today, if you had to start looking after your health and looking after your relationships and bringing the same quality and intensity and focus in that as what you think you do in your business will go even higher. Because if you are neglecting your health, you are still not tapping into your 100% potential. You do not have the energy, the strength, the stamina, the grit that you have as when you train as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
And
how well do we work when we're tired?
Oh, yes.
Right?
No, I love it when clients send me an email and they go, oh, I'm exhausted, but I'm going to just do this one more thing for you. And I'm like, oh, piss off, man. Go and sleep and do the stuff for me when you're wide awake.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Why settle? Why settle for what you can give me when you're tired when I want excellence from you? You know that. I don't settle for
yes, I know
bullshit.
that.
You know? Because why should we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, speaking about excellence, I really love your biking story, that competition that you went into. Can you share that?
The Ironman?
Well, no. We'll get to that one in a second. But the one where it was horrible weather and you've been training for it. What was that one?
Yes. So that was actually riding for, I wanted my provincial colours in Gauteng.
Okay, that bike thing.
Yes, the bike thing. And I'm one of those people who honestly believe if you're not prepared to train in it, you'll never race in it. So I'm the dork that's out training in rain and wind and whatever. And people would say to me, you're so nuts. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And arrived at the start line for this beautiful race, which was laps. And it was pissing down with rain. It was probably the worst weather I've ever come across. And we started off, and it wasn't very long before the field got really spread out, and you kind of end up on your own, just going, around and thinking, oh my God, this is ridiculous. And it started hailing, and I talked to myself a lot, and the universe. And I was like, seriously, God, this is not funny anymore. And I'm going to show you, damn it, I'm not going to give up. And I did the first lap, and I thought by this stage of the fight I was last in the race. And my husband was standing in the rain, and he said to me, "Keep going, they're giving up." And I was like, "Really?" So I went and I did another lap with a lot of swearing. And
from you, hard to imagine.
Hard to imagine. And I got to the second time, and my husband's like, "Keep going, there's hardly anybody left." And so I was like, not a fuck. I mean, all I had to do was finish the race, right? And I got silver that day because out of the entire field, only 2 of us finished.
Wow.
And
that is so amazing.
And the big lesson out of that is, you know what? If you just keep going, if you have the stamina and the determination, you'll still end up on the podium because most other people will give up. I was not the strongest person in the field at all. I'm like this little old chickie with hardly any experience. But I was the most determined, and the fact that I trained in all the weather conditions is what got me to the finish. And it's the same in business. You know, be prepared to go through the really tough times because that's where your learning is. Be prepared to see your ass and be prepared to keep going, and you will succeed.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And it's such a great story. I tell people it all the time. Well, my friend Anel, this is what she did. That's right. All right, so now tell us about Ironman.
Oh my God, okay. So then after cycling and getting to the podium twice, I was like, well, this isn't really challenging anymore. And a friend of mine sent me a YouTube clip of Ironman. And I watched this, and as the guy went over the finish line, and they said, "John, you are an Ironman." I was like, fuck, I have to be an Ironman. This is like not negotiable. Took out the credit card, went online, and I entered. And then I turned to my husband and says, "Honey, I just entered Ironman, and it's a 3.8K swim." And he's like, "But you can't swim." I was like, fuck, you're right. So, as a child, when I was around 6, I almost drowned. And so I never learned to swim. I mean, it's just my biggest fear is drowning.
I understand that.
Ironman, yes. So I ended Ironman. I was like, oh, well, now I'm pretty screwed. Now I have to learn to swim because there's no ways in hell that I'm not going to become an Ironman. And went to my first swimming instructor who gave up on me. Went to my second swimming instructor who was like, oh God, you're a lost cause. So I went onto YouTube and started Googling, how do you learn to swim? And I would literally just take the little things on YouTube and then go and try and practice it in the swimming pool, right? How hard can it be? Except about 2 months before Ironman, I started picking up injuries running because I've never run before in my life. But how hard can running be? But yes, I mean, one thing led to the other, and they eventually said to me, Anel, you can't do Ironman. You need a hip operation. You've got a piece of bone sticking out, and it's ripping up the inside of your hip. Oh. And I was like, oh, but you don't understand. I've paid for the entry, and I'm learning to swim. This is not a negotiable. And eventually went to a biokineticist and said to him, get me to the start line. I'll do whatever the fuck it takes. Just get me to the start line and I'll get to the finish line. So he had me running in the swimming pool for like 3 hours at a time. I wasn't allowed to run on the road. I had to, because of the impact. So I would get really bored in the swimming pool and start chatting to people who was trying to swim. So every time that they wanted to make a turn and took a breath, I would go, oh, hi, I'm Anel, and I'm going to do Ironman, and what are you doing, and what are you training for? And yes, you can imagine the responses I got. But you know what? I was improving their swimming because they would swim faster and faster to get away from me. So I did them a service. So yes, so by the time we got to Ironman, I'd hardly run. All my running was done in the pool, and I was still terrified of swimming. We tried swimming in the ocean the day before. My husband was walking in the ocean next to me, so you can imagine how deep it was. And I put my head in the water. I completely freaked out. I was like, I'm so screwed. I'm terrified. I'm going to drown. This is like, oh my God, And yet, on the morning of Ironman, when that cannon went off and I went into the water, I was like, there's no ways in hell that 3.8 Ks is going to prevent me from becoming an Ironman today.
Just and a measly 3.8 K.
Yeah, just 3.8 Ks in the ocean. Yeah. And of course, what you think of is if there's a shark, they'll go for the slowest fucking swimmer in the group. Which, guess who that is? That's me. But I just decided I'm going to count. I'm just going to count and spot. So 3 breaths and then spot, and then 3 breaths and then spot. And I think it was the 4th time that I decided to spot. I was like, where the fuck is the rest of the field? And I was stone lost. I mean, the rest of the field had already gone past the first buoy. I couldn't even see the buoy yet. I was that far behind. But, luckily I like my own company. And so I just continued counting. And about 3/4 on the first lap, the guys were lapping me on their second lap. And I had this guy saying to me, you know what? We might as well just give up now. And I was like, excuse me? And he's like, we're not going to make the cutoff because there's a cutoff as well, right? You've got 2 hours 20 to get your ass over the line. Otherwise, your race is over. And I just looked at him and I said to him, honey, you have no fucking clue what it took for me to get here today. So you give up. I'm finishing Ironman today. And when I came out of the water after 2 hours and 15 minutes, yes, it was a long swim. It still takes me that long, by the way. As I came out of the water, I was like, holy shit. On the other side of the fear is my freedom. Because I love the ocean. It really feeds my soul. But I've been terrified of doing anything in it. And so I've made my life so tiny because of that fear. And that changed my life. Now I do all this crazy shit that really scares me. And I insist that my clients set goals that really scares the pants off them. Because every time we do that, we grow. Every time that we go, oh, yes, there's some fear, you and I both know that that's where my personal growth lies. There's something there that's going to make me a better and a stronger person. And that's what we need to go after. Yeah. So make friends with fear. Really, what's the worst thing that can happen? You can die. But you know what? You're going to die anyway. You can't get away from that.
Okay, you know what? I have to tell you a personal story here because I, too, am not a big fan of the water. I tend to sink and have had several near-drowning experiences. And I thought when I was in Zambia that it would be great to go whitewater rafting on the Zambezi. And it is one of the most difficult runs that an amateur can do because it has the highest concentration of 4s and 5s. I got thrown out of the boat 4 times. The last time, it was little like about, I don't know, I think like 2 hours of the day left, and I just cried for the whole rest of the trip because it was insane. And then afterwards, my fear wasn't much better. But then I went to Bali a couple of years ago, and I was staying in an Airbnb, and the host said to me, so what do you want to do when you're here? And I said, well, I'm a little bit afraid of the water. And he went, oh, well, then I guess diving's out of the question for you. And I said, no, actually, I'm going to get my open dive ticket while I'm here. And I did. But I think it's just keep trying those different things. Like, I'll probably never go whitewater rafting again, but being under the water was definitely a different experience. And I don't have that same fear relationship with the water as I did before.
Well, and here's the funny thing. I'm still scared shitless. I think people think that they can face a fear once and it's conquered, and it's not the truth. I have done 3 Ironman swims, and I still cry. I still cry of terror before going into the water. The thing is, it's not as if you can face a fear once and that's it, it's gone. It doesn't work that way, because you can't have 39 years of fear and overcome it in 2 hours and 15 minutes.
No.
You know, it's about continuously facing your fear, but stop being afraid of fear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the important part, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fear is from a place of ego, which is there to protect you. And I'm not saying being stupid. I'm not saying, well, you know, let's all go and walk in the middle of a park at night. Well, you can in New Zealand, but
you can in Canada.
Probably not in America or in South Africa or anything like that, because you're afraid that you're going to be attacked, because chances are you will be. I'm not saying do that. But what I am saying is start finding the opportunities that can really stretch you, that can really help you to grow. Whether that be in sport or in business, it doesn't really matter. Even in your relationship, you know, it could be that you're afraid of taking your clothes off at daytime in front of your partner. Well, there you go. Just go and take off your knickers and stand there bare ass and face that fear.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I normally do it physically is because it's a lot easier to learn the lessons physically and then translate it mentally than to try and sit in a boardroom and overcome your fears. You know, so go learn the lessons on the sports field and bring it to the boardroom or bring it to your business, rather than trying to do it in the business and then translating it there.
Right.
You've got a body for a reason. Use it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and there's got to be some sort of muscle memory that goes along with it as well.
Absolutely. I think it was Tony Robbins who says that fear is physically in the body, and so is courage. So if your body is trained for fear, you can train your body for courage as well, but you have to use the body.
Right. And courage is not the absence of fear.
No, there can be no courage without fear.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah, like for me, jumping out of a
fear.
plane wasn't brave because I wasn't afraid of it. It was just a fun ride down.
That is just crazy. I haven't done that yet.
I highly recommend it.
Yes, my idea of overcoming my fear of heights was to go and climb a mountain. But even there, my feet were still on the floor.
See, jumping out of the plane made so much more sense to me because I'm a very impatient person. And so waiting for the plane to come down on its own accord just takes way too long.
Yeah. See, I'm a sucker for punishment. You know, I want to earn my stripes. So I have to find the hardest way to do shit. And yes, it normally ends up being physical.
Yeah, what's that all about, Anel?
What's that all about?
What's that all about, making it hard on yourself?
Well, actually, it comes from my depression days. And what I discovered was I mentally couldn't cope with pain at that stage. And what the kickboxing taught me was if I could do it physically, take control of my body, I could start taking control of my mental abilities. But my personality type, so on the Enneagram, for those of you who do know it, I'm a 3, which is the competitor and the achiever. I don't want things to come easy because I enjoy working for it. I'm one of those people that I don't want the easy journey. I would always take the path less traveled because for me there's more learning in it. And the more I can struggle, the more I can learn. But hell, that's not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? If your thing is to go run on the tar, then stick to that. Me, I like to go into the bush. You know, I like to go into the forest and get off the path and come back full of mud, snot, tears, and some bruises. But I would go, oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, that sounds like you. Totally does. Me, I'd be like, there's dirt and bugs out here. I don't think so.
Yeah, and I used to be that girl. You know, I used to be the, oh no, not mud. Ew, that's so gross. And now I come home on the rides the dirtiest person around because I'm like, oh, really? How deep do you think the mud is? Do you think we'll get stuck in it?
And that's why I love you.
I've also had the opportunity to find out that not all mud is mud. You know, I've fallen into mud and then I'm going, oh no, this is not mud, this is shit. And so it's also about creating that awareness that things aren't always what it seemed to be. So, you know, be awake in whatever you do and really find the truth behind what you think things are. So don't just take things on. See, there's lessons in everything I do.
Oh my God, there is. There so is. Like there's lessons in everything that we do. And I think it comes down to how much we actually want to look at what we're learning.
Absolutely. And it's about
if we want to get off those happy pills.
Yes, ask the question. Like, where else in my life is this happening? Where else could I apply this? I don't believe that we should learn the same thing 6 times in 6 different aspects of our lives. Learn a lesson in one aspect and apply it to everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds pretty easy. And so one of the things, like I worked with Anel for, for 3 months. You're back. 3 months as we worked together, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah.
3 awesome months.
They were awesome months. I was a little bit more scattered than I am now. I'm definitely feeling more grounded and focused, thanks to you. And it is such a process, and I would really encourage people who are looking for making a change to get in touch with Anel. And you can even go to your website, right? Which is
anelbester.com.
Perfect. And there is a worksheet, a life audit worksheet there, isn't there?
And I really recommend people do this. You know, this is the 8 areas of life that research has shown that people get to their deathbeds and go, oh my God, yes, my life was really fulfilled or not. Mm-hmm. And it's about just getting perspective of where your focus is at the moment, because what I find is a lot of the time people tend to set goals in the same areas over and over, you know, the areas that they're really comfortable in, and neglecting the areas that would really make an impact.
Right.
So when you have a look at that sheet, you'll get a really wonderful overview of your life, and you get to start designing your life. You get to say what a perfect case scenario would look like. Because if you don't know what it looks like, you don't know what to work towards.
Right. And I would have to say at this point, you probably don't know what it looks like until you start working with Anel.
And I also think that we need to be fair and tell everybody you didn't always like me.
Actually, I did.
I got some pretty rude emails from you.
Well, but that was directed at you. That was me just being, I'm sick of this shit. My brain hurts. I don't want to do this. But it wasn't, it definitely wasn't a personal thing. It was situational where I was just, you know, you were making me get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I wasn't a real fan of that.
Yes, you were.
Especially when I didn't sleep at night. So, yeah, no, it was definitely, I never lost sight of the fact that we were working towards something that I wanted in my life.
Exactly. But that's the thing I want to say to people is you're not always going to like your coach, and you're not always going to like what they say to you, because if your coach don't have the balls to be honest and say to you that nobody, you know, what nobody else will say to you, they're keeping you as stuck as everybody else around you.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, we have so many people kissing ass in this world instead of kicking ass, because everybody just wants to be liked. Yeah, screw liked. People must love you or hate you. Liked is so forgettable.
Right.
Nobody remembers liked. So if you're one of those people who are in business and, you know, I want to give you this piece of advice, don't be in the middle. Have them love you or hate you, because even if they hate you, they'll remember you.
Right.
But like has no power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I say go for the extremes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was funny when you were first talking about when you went, you got your honors in psychology. I just got a minor in it. And I remember going to my fourth year psych, and I had taken some time off, and I ended up going back to this class, and I didn't know any of the other students that were there, and they all knew each other because they'd been going through it all together. And this woman came up to me and she said, "Are you minoring or majoring?" And I said, "Oh, I'm minoring." And she said, "Oh, right on." And I said, "What are you doing?" And she goes, "Majoring." And I said, "Great." And she said, "Well, you know what that means?" And I said, "No." And she goes, "It means I have major problems and you only have minor ones." And I loved her for the rest of the year because she was just so that person. She was so great. And I think about it all the time. But it's one of those things. I really, really liked her, and it wasn't this mediocre experience that I had. And it's memorable when people say stuff that challenges what you think or phrases in a different way. Those are the people you remember.
And it's about thinking, right? I mean, this is something that we had so many conversations about. It's the fact that people have stopped thinking.
Oh my God.
They just need to start thinking on a bigger basis with regards to the impact of everything that they do and say, and understand this. Everything you do and say does have an impact on other people.
Mm-hmm. It does.
And we have to stop thinking with our heads up our bums and start thinking of our role in the world.
Yeah, for sure. You know, if we were all walking around like mini Buddhas and we weren't being impacted by anything, that's fine. That's one thing. But we do make people laugh. We make them cry. We make them love. Like we do have that impact. And I think it's a beautiful impact that we have because I think that we're social critters, and that's how we interact with our feelings a lot of the time.
Absolutely. And I think if we were all mini Buddhas, life would be so boring for some of us.
Me?
I was a mini Buddha the whole day. So,
that's right.
I'm all for variety. But yes, I do think that people have become lazy. They've become lazy with their minds, and they're not tapping into a third, a quarter, an eighth, a tenth, 100th of their potential, because it's just too hard to be that disciplined in your thoughts. It's just too many fucking distractions, to be quite honest. If you just simplify your life and get rid of all the distractions, like I went offline, and I'm offline most of the time now because the online space was just too noisy for me. And since going offline, I've just like, oh yes, I can remember who I am and become so much more powerful again.
Yes. Well, I'm working on a speech right now, and it talks about the stuff that happens online and the how we're using the term tribe all the time. And I think it is such a dangerous trap that we're all falling into because it's so popular. We have our tribe, and me and my tribe are hanging out online, and I'm meeting up with my tribe. We're going to wherever, and we're going to do our tribe things together. And all it does is it creates these spaces for homogeneous thought. And it is so dangerous because how do we grow when everybody is agreeing with us and blowing smoke up our ass?
And the reason why people are doing it is because they're bloody lonely. They're really lonely out there.
They are, and I don't even I think it's that for sure. But I also think it's that people don't think that they're doing it, because I fell into that trap. And I was having this conversation with Mark. Well, yeah, and I said, well, except, I hang out with this group and we really challenge each other to strive and be better. And he goes, really, how many men are in this group? And I went, oh. And he goes, and then how many non-critical thinkers are in this group? And I went, oh, yeah. So even as a thinker, I still get caught up in these traps where I think that we are progressing or moving forward, when in fact we are staying exactly where we are with just this illusion that we're moving forward.
Because we like being safe, and I always say that the whole technology space has been a blessing and a curse at the same time, because as much as we can reach people online, which is fantastic, and I'm very grateful for that, I do think that a lot of what's happening online has become very vicious,
Yes.
very fucking conniving, and I find it's devastating to see how quickly people jump on the bandwagon of negativity and pulling other people down. And I'm like, seriously, guys? What has happened? For me, I love criticism. I'm very open to criticism if it's coming from the right space. And I will give people feedback from a loving space. But there's a way of doing that. When you are just criticizing somebody in public and you've probably never even met this person face to face, there's zero value in that. Then shut the fuck up. People need to start understanding, especially women, girls, this whole fucking tall poppy syndrome bullshit that's going on of, oh my God, if somebody is a little bit more successful than me, I have to pull them down and make them look bad and blah, blah. That's us disempowering all women. Our power lies in collaboration, in building relationships, in communicating in a really beautiful and and I'm not saying blow smoke up everybody's ass either. But start having those honest, uplifting conversations of how do we do this better? How do we make this world a better place? Because the world is hurting. Man, there's so much pain in this world at the moment. And women need to step up and saying, we're going to start healing this space. Because intuitively, we heal and we nurture and we birth and we create. But we've all started doing it from such a competitive male energy that we're just screwing up everybody, including ourselves.
Yeah. And not that there's anything wrong with male energy, but we are women, and I think we really need to embrace our women energy before we can start embracing our male energy.
Honey, I have tons of masculine energy. I love my masculine energy. I think there's a reason why God gave me small titties, and probably as a reminder that I'm not all that feminine. But it really is about balancing the two. It's about understanding that I can collaborate, which is a feminine perspective, and take action and set goals, which is the masculine energy. You have to bring both into the equation. If you only do the masculine energy as a woman, you're completely disempowering yourself.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I totally agree with that. Balance. It's all about the balance, right?
Yes.
And then rocking the shit out of that balance.
Exactly. And I also find it interesting how there's so many women-only groups on Facebook and hardly any men-only groups.
See, I wouldn't even know if there's men groups or not.
As well.
I wouldn't even know where to go look for them.
Unfortunately, I have male clients as well. I believe men are, as powerful and need as much guidance as what women do. And so I'm very fortunate to work with both sexes. But they're not as threatened by women as what women seem to be by men at the moment. And so you also have to wonder what needs to be healed for us in that space.
Yeah, it was interesting because I was having a conversation about somebody about that specific thing just the other day, and how we if there's a group full of women and a man walks in, how much impact does it have on the energy in the room? And if there's a group full of men and a woman walks in, how much energy does it have in a room? Because I own a house painting company, and so when I walk into a job site and it's all men, it changes the energy so much.
Yeah.
And then I leave and it goes back to the way it was. And I just think, just me walking into that room can change it.
Absolutely. And I mean, I have 2 women-only groups on Facebook. And I love keeping that space for the girls. I have no problem with it. But what I am saying is, why is that so the thing to do on Facebook? What are we afraid of in bringing in that other energy?
Yeah. Again, it comes back to the tribes, right? That homogenous thinking.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think as a human race, we have a lot of work to do, but I think the step number one is for people to start waking up. Start waking up, remember your values, remember your purpose, and start living that in a really magnificent way. And when I say magnificent way, I'm not talking about let's conquer the world. You know, I'm not saying everybody has to be Pinky and the Brain, because I'm already Pinky. No, I'm the... But what I am saying is that so many people have gone to sleep on themselves. They're kind of sleepwalking through life at the moment, and they need to start waking up. You know, they need to start going, oh my God, I'm just going through the motions. There has to be more to life than this.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
And just through that one thing, I mean, once you've created awareness, you can't just go back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Things have to change. And I think it's time for humanity to start waking up in a big way.
Yeah. Well, and you're definitely part of that process. And I would encourage anybody who's listening that wants to be able to do those things and step up and be a part of that process, get in touch with you and do some work with you. And can you tell people how they can do that?
Well, it's easy as pie. You can either just go onto my website and click a link to book a session with me, or you can
Which is
drop me a mail.
anelbester.com, ANELBESTER, because she is the bester.com.
Or drop me a mail at anel@anelbester.com and say, you know what, I want to have a powerful conversation with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's as easy as that. It really is. And in fact, I want to gift one of your listeners with a 2-hour free coaching session, and all they have to do is to go onto your Facebook page, Natural Born Speakers, and put in Alison Donahue fucking rocks radio. And the first person to do that will get 2 hours with me for free.
Excellent. Well, there you go. So yes, Facebook, Natural Born Speakers, and that's what you want to put in there. You want to say it again?
Alison Donahue fucking rocks radio.
Just like that. And then you will get a 2 hours so you can rock your own shit with Anel.
Absolutely. So first come, first serve. Off you girls go.
Perfect. Well, you know, I certainly encourage people to do that because it was a treat working with you and getting to know you. And I just see you as a very, very valuable person in my life.
Same here, darling. And it's been an honor working with you and definitely an honor being on your show today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And unfortunately, we are out of time. And we might be able to squeeze in like another little thing. What's your leaving message? What is that like big thing that you want people to hear?
Wake the fuck up, remember your purpose, and live magnificently.
I love it. I love it. And I love you. You're terrific.
Oh, I love you too, darling. And thank you again. And keep impacting the world the way you do. Keep shining the light because there's so many people out there doing an amazing work and people need to find them.
Yes. Yes, you're absolutely right. And thank you so much.
Pleasure.
All right. Well, until next Thursday, speak up because you have something to say and I want to hear it.
Thanks for hanging out with Natural Born Speakers. But don't stop now. Contact Alison with questions to be a guest or hire her as a speaker. Go to dominothinking.com. See you same place and time next week.